Once upon a time there were 3 little pigs who were brothers. They all lived together in a pigsty on a farm. I don't know if you've ever visited a pigsty, but this one was a very noisy place. The brothers were always fighting and arguing and snorting and squealing and chasing each other round and round, as some brothers do. At mealtimes it was even worse. The farmer would pour slops into their trough, and they would snuffle and snort and squeal and eat with their mouths open, and make other noises as well. Did I mention the smell? Oh dear, the smell! Little wonder that the 3 little pigs were fed up. One day, when they had eaten more cabbage and onions than usual, the smell became unbearable, so they decided to leave the sty and find homes of their own. The first little pig found bales of hay out in one of the fields and piled them up to make quite a cosy little house. He felt very pleased with himself, as the smell of the hay was far better than the smell of the sty. As pigs eat hay, if he fancied a snack, he could always chew on the walls. The second little pig found a pile of branches and sticks at the edge of the woods that the farmer was keeping for firewood. In no time at all he had arranged the branches so that the thick ends were stuck in the ground in a circle, and the thin ends all met in a point at the top. The third little pig found an old abandoned cottage on the farm. It took him weeks and weeks to do all the repairs to the doors and windows and roof. His brothers teased him as he worked. "My house of hay took me less than half an hour to build, and it's much cosier than that draughty old dump," said the first little pig. "My house of sticks took no time at all to build, and it's well hidden. You can barely see the wood for the trees," boasted the second little pig. But the third little pig warned, "You won't be so cocky when the big bad wolf comes to call." The other 2 laughed and danced a jig, singing, "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Tra-la-la-la-la." The third little pig had just about got his house in order when the big bad wolf did come to call. Although you couldn't see there was a pig inside the house of hay, the big bad wolf could smell him. Little pig, let me in, ow!" howled the big bad wolf. "Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, I will not let you in," squealed the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." Now you might think that a wolf couldn't possibly blow a house in that was made of bales of hay, and you're right. That was just the wolf trying to make himself sound even scarier than he was. What most people don't tell you is that he started to scrabble at the hay with his claws. This took a lot of effort even for a big bad wolf, and it did make him huff and puff. The hay started to fly all over the place as if it were being blown about, so you can see how the story got mixed up. When the little pig saw the wolf's nose appearing through the hay, he pushed his way out through the other side and ran to his brother in the house of sticks. Fortunately, the big bad wolf didn't realize the little pig had escaped till he was inside the house of hay. The big bad wolf soon sniffed his way to the house of sticks and growled, little pigs, let me in." "Not by the hair on our chinny chin chin, we will not let you in," squealed the 2 little pigs. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." Once again, the big bad wolf started to scrabble and scratch at the house with his claws, but the branches were too strong, and the little pigs thought they were safe. Then the big bad wolf started biting the branches, and soon splinters and broken twigs were flying everywhere as the wolf huffed and puffed. The two little pigs managed to squeeze out the other side of the house of sticks, but the wolf saw them and chased them. The two little pigs were terrified and squealed all the way to their brother's house. They were making so much noise that their brother opened the door ready for them and slammed it shut on the big bad wolf's nose, who was right on their tails. "Little pigs, let me in!" screamed the wolf angrily.
"Not by the hair on our chins, we will not let you in!"
squealed all three little pigs at once. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." The big bad wolf began to scratch at the door with his powerful claws, but they were no match for the door. He tried to break in through the windows, but the little pig had locked the shutters for the night. The big bad wolf ran round the cottage looking for a way in, and found an old tractor rusting round the back. He leapt onto the tractor, then from the tractor up to the roof, and from the roof he leapt down the chimney, still huffing and puffing. He did it all so fast that he didn't have time to notice that there was smoke coming out of the chimney. And you know the saying, there's no smoke without fire. He landed in a roaring fire, and at once all his fur was aflame. The third little pig opened the front door and yelled, "Quick, to the well!" pointing to the old water well. The big bad wolf, with fur ablaze, ran and jumped down the well. Some people say that the big bad wolf burnt to death, but that isn't true. Others will tell you he drowned, and that's not right either. You see, wolves have very thick fur, and the water in the well put the flames out instantly, so he wouldn't have been badly burnt at all. Wolves are very good swimmers too, so he wouldn't have drowned. I think he felt so stupid for jumping down the chimney and the well that when he finally managed to climb out of the well, with his fur all black and burnt and soaking wet, he never wanted to see the three little pigs ever again. The only thing I can say for certain is that after that night, the three little pigs never saw or heard of the big bad wolf again. The first little pig had had enough of his house of hay, and the second pig felt the same about his house of sticks, so they all agreed to live together in the cottage, which they kept surprisingly clean and tidy. Each pig had his own room, so they got on with each other much better than they had before. I think they realised that although brothers can be annoying, they can be very useful when a big bad wolf comes to call. So the three little pigs lived, as you might already have guessed if you're very clever, happily ever after.